Okay, so universal relativism tension has evolved beyond simple opposition toward more sophisticated middle ground approach. Universalist position defended by scholars like Jack Donnelly and Brian Barry argue for universal human dignity and while relativist perspective emphasizes cultural context and the Western bias embodied in supposedly natural universal category. Decolonial theory or decolonialism, it is pointed by Anibal Cogino and developed by scholars like Walter Maginot and Jose Manuel Barrento, provides fundamental critiques of human rights as both an instrument of liberation and domination. The colonial matrix of power embedded in contemporary rights discourse require epistemic decolonization that challenges universal claim of Western knowledge system while promoting broader thinking and epistemic disobedience. The third world approach, international law. This is from law. It's now from perspective provides crucial critiques of international laws, claimed universality and neutrality, focusing on colonial continuity in contemporary legal framework and emphasis third world and indigenous peoples' experience. Key theoretical scholars including Anthony Ange, Pupa, Senge Chimin, and Macau Mutua analyze how international law historically justified indigenous disposition through civilization discourse, while contemporary rights framework may perpetuate rather than challenge colonial relationship. So contemporary application and detention now, international human rights framework integration, contemporary application of indigenous governance system reveal complex tension with international human rights framework, particularly around free, prior, and informed consent. Implementation, the competing claim between self-determination and state sovereignty, philosophical difference between individual and collective rights, and the conflict over gender rights versus traditional practice. Case study examples demonstrate a varying approach to integration. For example, Brazil's resistance to ILO Convention 169, challenging indigenous consultation rights, Canada's Indian residential school settlement, representing the largest settlement in Canadian history based on indigenous law principles, Australia's Mabo decision recognizing native title and the traditional law elements, and New Zealand's Treaty of Waiting developing bicultural legal framework. Regional influences extend through the African Court on Human Rights and the People's Rights, developing regional human rights interpretation, African Union framework in incorporating indigenous governance approach, and SADC legal integration, harmonizing diverse legal tradition across Southern Africa development community nation. For conclusion, this comprehensive analysis demonstrates that indigenous egalitarian system offers sophisticated alternative to Western liberal democratic models while providing valuable insight for contemporary human rights theory and practice. The Gada system emphasizes on the consensus democracy, rational leadership, and restorative justice, combined with Ubuntu philosophy, rational dignity, and the concepts and communal ethics, illustrate how indigenous system balance individual and collective rights through cultural grounded framework that prioritize community well-being and along personal autonomy. But before finishing, let me show you some how Gada actually frame rights. This is from Gada Constitution. It is not ratified yet, but it is evolving. It was started in 2014 when I was back at home. I also I was a part of this. And so this is Article 2, from Article 2, core principle in Gada system, humanity or namumma, recognition that dignity and the respect of all human beings is God-given. That's from Gada. This is Article 2. And again, it continues or equality. All persons are equal regardless of ethnicity, religion, gender, or place of birth. And third, freedom or bilisumma, the right to freedom of every person is protected and not violated without due process. And number 4 is naga or peace. Peace is the foundation of life and social development. And fifth, justice or haqa, justice may be administered fairly to all creatures. And number 6 is safu or moral, and number 7 is accountability. And again, on Article 21, the fundamental right. It has fundamental rights. These fundamental rights are, this is individual rights. The individual right is, for example, a right to life. A right to life is every person has a right to life. And number 2 is a right to freedom. No person shall be enslaved. And number 3 is a right to property. Everyone has the right to own and manage property. And number 4 is all children have the right to education. And the fifth one is no one shall be imprisoned without law. And this is individual rights, as I told you. And the other one is communal rights. We are not only, as I told you, we don't only focus on individual rights, we don't only focus on collective rights, we use both. Gada has both. And in Article 22, it says, Mirga Hawasumma, or social rights. And in social rights, it is, the first part is mutual assistance. The community has an obligation to help one another. Gada encourages indigenous self-help institutions like AFOSHA. These are the institutions, self-help institutions among the Oromo people. Not only Oromo people, but it is also common with other ethnic groups in Ethiopia, like AFOSHA, Gumata, Walicha, Davo, Guza, Jigi, Busa, Gonofa, Walicha, etc. And the other one is fair distribution. And in fair distribution, community resources must be distributed fairly. That means we don't encourage, actually Gada do not encourage the monopoly or the monopoly control of a resource. So resource should be distributed fairly. And at the same time, protection from poverty, that's also a right. Actually, this is the part I like most. The community must assist those in need and poverty, and everyone has a right to food and water. I don't know if the Gada could fulfill this, but in its constitution, it is draft constitution. It is not ratified yet, but in its constitution, it says everyone has a right to food and water, and that's it. thank you thank you very much for listening. And if you have questions, I would accept.